by reading the title of your first book, anyone can guess that there is a connection between Berosus and Genesis. And you also pointed out that Berosus was the direct source of the Mesopotamian traditions that influenced early Genesis. Now, this man is a very influential figure, and a statue of him was erected in Athens after his death. We can say because of his great contributions. Now, is it possible for us to see him as a man who influenced the Genesis? And you pointed out a very important thing about Berosus, that he entitled his first book as Genesis or Creation.
Mhm. That's right. His first book was called Genesis. In Latin, it was Procreato, and so they reconstruct the Greek as being Genesis. Plato's Timaeus uses the word Genesis all over the place. They talk about the genesis of the world, so the book of beginnings, basically. I think there's a reason why, besides the Greeks, that the early chapters of Genesis rely so strongly on Berosus, the Babylonian, because the Assyrians conquered the kingdom of Israel, or Samaria, around 725 BC. They put an end to the northern kingdom, and they replaced the ruling class in Samaria with the ruling class of Babylonia, because Sargon conquered the Babylonians, and he said, we're going to get rid of all of you rulers out of Babylon, you're troublemakers. We're going to put you over in Samaria. The Sumerians, they were already put in Media and different places. So you have this Babylonian population in Samaria, which is the northern 10 tribes of Israel, supposedly. It definitely was called Israel. And so the Assyrian province of Samarina became Samaria and became home of the Samaritans, which were a competing religion to the Jews in Judea. But the Babylonians, who were the educated ruling class in Samaria, they didn't die out. They didn't disappear. They preserved their memories. They preserved memories of the laws of Hammurabi. They preserved memories of Babylonian month names. And they probably preserved the Babylonian flood story. And they certainly had great affection and affinity for this book about Babylonia by Berosus, because that was their people, that was their ancestors. In fact, their influence, the Babylonian influence through the Samaritans on the books of Moses was so great through the laws of Hammurabi mixed in with the laws of Moses. But they even made Abraham come from Babylonia. Now, does that make any sense, really? Because the Judeans and Israelites, they were native peoples. They were Canaanites. They were earthborn. They grew up there. They'd always been there. They didn't come from Babylon. So where do you get this wacky idea in Genesis that Abraham came from Babylonia, that he got all of the wives for his descendants from going back there and intermarrying with them? That's the reason why those stories are in there, is because those stories are written by Babylonians who lived among the Samaritans and had become believers in Yahweh. These Babylonians helped write the books of Genesis and so on and so forth. So I think that that's why the Babylonic Berosus was so prominent, and why there's such a huge Mesopotamian thread in all the literature and traditions found from the books of Moses, clear throughout the Hebrew Bible, basically. These were Babylonians and Assyrians who had become part of Samaria, and the Samaritans helped write the books of Moses. And so you get this whole Babylonian tradition that gets mixed in there.